oh my God, this is a huge thing now where I'm going to get this unit now. And I'll go by and look at it, and I'm up here fucking with 20 billion ideas, and she brings me down.
Same. Doesn't that suck when they're actually bringing logic?
Yes,
I know. Our damn wives making things logical in our lives, bringing us back to earth.
That thing of regret. So it's like, do I want to be 70, 80 years old looking back and saying, I wish I would have at least tried. Before I was a realtor, I was a plumber, commercial plumber. I like to create, right? And that's why this evolution of real estate has brought me where it is, and it's going to continue to evolve for me. But that's what excites me, is that what can I create next, or how can I create this and do this?
How did that conversation go? Hey, honey, you're on mat leave. So I want to leave my cushy job, and I want to start something which I have no guarantee in.
And not just leave, I literally quit and started to take the courses. So it's not even I did a transition.
Shit.
Yeah, I fucking said, forget, I'm done with this. And literally, me and him became vending brokers. We would basically sell routes to other people. We were selling $80,000 to $150,000 routes. Literally, I went out and I bought a Mercedes, and I got really tight suits, and I'm just
let me guess, the Mercedes was white?
Of course, definitely.
It's either the white BMW or the white Mercedes. So 300 series, right? Welcome to another episode of DC Talks with David Chinelli. I'm your host, David Chinelli, obviously. Today we have a really special guest with us, and we have Mike Samrah, which, we kind of go way back, not so much way back. We were just explaining the story too.
Yeah.
Like, it's your wife that knows me and your family that knows me
Yeah,
more than
definitely.
but we've been talking since I've been a realtor, I think.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah,
so,
quite a long time.
about 9 years about that. Yeah. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. We'll get into a little bit more of who Mike is, how he started, and just stay tuned. So ready to go. Ready to jump into this?
Giddy up.
All right. So as I said, Michael and I go way back. You just started your own brokerage, I believe, right?
About 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something I always wanted to do. So even from when I got into real estate, I always had that mindset of eventually I want to do that. That's why I kind of started GetSold.ca back then, got that domain even when I first got into real estate, with the intention of at some point down the road opening it up.
Yeah.
And then got my own little location in my farm area. And by fluke, I come up with these fucking stupid ideas all the time, right? So it was like, okay, how can I advertise in my farm area? So maybe I can put...
And where is your farm area for the people listening?
In Rexdale. Rexdale, Etobicoke, that's kind of where I grew up. That's where my parents still live, very familiar with it. So for me, it was a comfortable, place to go after. So my thought was, okay, well, maybe I can rent a parking spot at a plaza, and I'll put a trailer there that has my branding on it, and I'll put that as a billboard, kind of. So I was calling the plaza management companies and saying, can I rent a parking spot? So the one I called where I'm at now basically said, no, I don't. I'm not going to rent you a parking spot, but I do have a small little unit that's available. So I was like, oh shit, okay, I never kind of thought about that. He goes, yeah, go take a look at it and let me know. So just like with anything, it's like, oh my God, this is a huge thing now where I'm going to get this unit now. And I would go by and look at it, and I text my wife. Like, my wife is my business partner, in the sense of I always go over ideas with her, because I'm up here fucking with 20 billion ideas, and she brings me down.
Same.
And makes it logical, and
doesn't that suck when they're actually bringing logic?
Yes, I know.
Our damn wives making things logical in our lives, bringing us back to earth.
I probably wouldn't be alive at this point if it wasn't, but yeah, so it's a blessing in disguise for that, right? So you got these brainiac ideas, and then going over it and say, okay, well, look at it logically. How would it work? Would you be okay with it? This is the payments it would be. And it actually worked out. So I was running, I was with Remax West back then, so I was running out of that location.
That's the one in Rexdale as well, right?
Actually, I was with the one in Kleinberg.
Oh, okay, because they have locations everywhere. There's one down the street here on Bloor Street.
Yeah, so I was
two of them actually.
Yeah, it was quite a few. So I was under Mike Samrah, who's the manager there. So talked to Mike.
I love Mike. He's great. He's a great guy.
Even
for a Remax guy, he's a really good guy.
He's a good guy. So talked to Mike and Frank and said, listen, I have a location. Is it okay if I'm going to run out of there? Yeah, no problem. You can go ahead. You don't need to do a satellite office. They didn't charge me anything. They're very gracious in that sense. I helped a lot of stuff. I did some training for the brokerage and stuff. So opened it up, and then, that thing of regret. So it's like, do I want to be 70, 80 years old looking back and saying, I wish I would have at least tried, right? At that point in time, to be too late.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I at least give it a shot? And what's the worst that's going to happen? Literally, if I fail, I just go back to Remax West and no, not a big deal. And if I succeed, and guess what? Here we go.
Yeah.
Create some type of legacy or create whatever it happens to be. So that's kind of what drove me to it. I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. What's the worst that can happen? It's going to cost me a little bit of money, but my business is not going to suffer. I'm not going to lose money. I'm not going to really make more money, but I get to create now something even hopefully bigger, or something that I can help even more people with. Not only just sellers and buyers, but now I can possibly even help agents. That's kind of how it evolved. And it's kind of, it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, I bet. So I'll get into the brokerage side of it a little bit, because it's a little bit different. And that's, you always had a passion to be a broker, which is great. I'm a broker, but I'm not a broker of record. There is a difference. Brokers were sell, but broker of records, basically, like Mike was saying, you manage people, you do everything on the back end. You're basically running the business. Yeah. You are running the business as a broker. I came from corporate. I didn't want to do that. So yeah. I knew I wanted to start, like, I had people ask me all the time, do you want to start your own brokerage? And I said, no. And I don't. And the reason why is with our brokerage, they take care of all of the back end stuff, all that stuff, with payroll, and again, it's not to say I can't do it. I could do it. I just don't enjoy that. So that's a part of, with different journeys. And I love the fact that was your passion. You did it. That's amazing. But there's a lot of, which we'll get into it a little bit. But how long were you in the business to start? And like, how long have you been in there? And then when did you have this realization from the beginning? And what year was it that you started a brokerage from work? I know it was like 3 years ago, but like, was it where you were in the industry for 20 years at this point, 5 years, 2 years? Yeah. Like, what was it like?
So 14 years in the business. So started 14 years. Before I was a realtor, I was a plumber, commercial plumber. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm a commercial plumber. I did, I worked in the industrial section, so like Galway Power Plant, those 3 stacks you see there, I did that from the start. Where CTV is, Yonge and Dundas, I did that build. Every pipe in that building, I probably uploaded off the truck. Worked in there, worked at BMO Field, did all the suites at BMO Field. So fortunate enough to have that. That's kind of what I wanted to kind of do, and then realize that I don't like the longevity of this.
It's terrible on your body.
Just not, it is, but I like to create, right? And that's why this evolution of real estate has brought me where it is, and it's going to continue to evolve for me. But that's what excites me, is that what can I create next, or how can I create this and do this? And that's why the brokerage was, okay, how can I create a place where agents can come, where I can take care of a lot of stuff for them, where I can do this. So that's kind of how it led me to get there. So yeah, 14 years ago, got into real estate at probably the worst time. My son was just born.
2010, right?
Yeah. 2009, end of 2009. Yeah. My son was a year old. We had a house. My wife was on mat leave, or just off of mat leave, or just starting mat leave. I can't remember.
How did that conversation go? Hey, honey, you're on mat leave.
So
I want to leave my cushy job, and I want to start something which I have no guarantee in, and we just got this beautiful home, and we might not be able to afford it in a few months.
And not just leave, I literally quit and started to take the courses. So it's not even I did a transition.
Shit.
Yeah, I fucking said, forget, I'm done with this. I quit my job. She was on mat leave. She worked for York University at that point. They didn't top her up on maternity leave.
Yeah.
And literally started to take the courses. During that time, I needed to make money. And I started getting into a vending business. I started doing vending machines to make cash. So I started putting vending machines in locations. And it's funny how this whole shit comes full circle. I know I'm rambling on.
No, we like it. Because we want to hear the stories behind realtors, because you're a successful realtor, and everybody has their own way of getting there. There's no blueprint. And I try to explain that to people. Some people are introverts. Like, there's always a different blueprint. So we want to hear your blueprint. This is awesome.
So decided, okay, so shit, I quit my job. My wife wasn't getting topped up. We're getting the bare minimum. And I need to make money. I need to pay for the mortgage. Our mortgage, because I was a plumber, we got paid weekly. So I made my mortgage every Monday morning. My mortgage payment came out. So I knew that Sunday night I had to deposit money. So I'm like, shit, I need to get money. So I'm like, okay, I'll do vending. Again, one of my fucking brainiac ideas. I'll do vending machines, right? There's a good markup on it. I can get a machine. So Kijiji back then was very big. So found some machines on Kijiji. And then I met this guy, and he was doing vending machines as well. So we started to hit it off. Yeah. He was a York Region cop, And he did this on the side. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And we started to get along, and I started to get into this vending world. And literally, me and him became vending brokers. We would basically sell routes to other people. And anybody who was in the vending business back then who wanted to buy a route, whatever it made, however much it made, would basically contact me or Stu. And we would sell. We were selling $80,000 to $150,000 routes, collecting commission off of it. We would set up routes ourselves, run them for 3-4 months. Okay, it's making $800 a month. We times it by our numbers. This is what we would sell the route for with the machines and whatnot. So I started to supplement or make my money every night. I would go Sunday night. I remember I would deposit $510 in my bank account. Monday at the end of the night, I'd have $10 balance. And that's what I would do. I would have my convenience stores where I drop off my rolls of quarters and dollars and get the cash, go Sunday night, deposit the money. And I did that while I was taking the course.
Damn.
Passed the course, got my license, and then literally I went out and I bought a Mercedes, and I got really tight suits, and I'm just like,
let me guess, the Mercedes was white?
Of course, definitely.
It's either the white BMW or the white Mercedes. So 300 series, right?
No, then it's like I got my license. I'm like, well, now what the fuck do I do? I got nothing. I can't do anything. So again, back then, Kijiji was popular. So I would spend every night emailing every FSBO for sale by owner on Kijiji. Some stupid email, I can make you more money if you're looking to sell with a realtor or something like that. I would do it every second night. I literally, Kijiji would kick me out saying, you've reached the maximum amount of emails that you're allowed to send. Please come back in 24 hours. And then during the day, I would go to the office. I had my license then, and I would call everybody from Kijiji. And that's how I kind of got into cold calling. That's how it started to develop my skills. And then from then on, I'm like, okay, I'm done calling Kijiji. I still don't have any business. What am I going to do next? Mm-hmm. And then I started to call the neighborhood.
Do you still cold call?
I don't.
Yeah, I stopped doing that years ago. And the reason why I was asking, I was like, if you did, I would have an avenue, because the reason why I was thinking that, like with our young agents, I bring in young people, we mentor them too. That's the idea. But one thing we've stopped doing was the cold calling. And for a number of reasons, like, well, like, no one answers the phone. They know your name anymore. Now everybody, I've noticed that when I first started 9 years ago, I used to cold call a lot. Yep. And people would answer the phone and you get told to fuck off a lot, like never call me again. And which is fine, but you answered the phone. That was fine. That was part of it. It helps build your, toughen your skin, which was fine. I don't mind that. What I'm finding now is like, most people don't answer the phones, and there are all these do not call things. We can get in trouble. So we don't do that as much anymore. I think if you do it the right way, there might be still way around it, but I just don't find it as useful. I don't know about yourself.
I find it 100% useful. I just don't do it because I don't need to. And the one thing that I'm fortunate of, and that's where I think most agents don't have are the actual skills.
Right.
I've developed the skills to objection handle, and I teach people. I have a Facebook group, Prospecting Ninjas, where I used to before actually put my live cold calls on there. And I would cold call and people would hear my objection handlers, and I try to help people with objections. But I have that skill set. So basically, if shit hits the fan, I will literally go back to the phones and start calling. Or if you plot me in a different country, I'll literally just pull up the phone book and I'll go ahead and start the call. I know what my numbers are for calling. I can do 100 phone calls in an hour. I can have an 18 to 22% contact rate. Out of that contact rate, now it's different. I'll add, let's say, 4 to 6 people to my database. Before, 15 years ago, 14 years ago, 12 years ago, I would be booking 3 to 4 appointments a week.
Well, I found when we first started, I used to door knock when I first
and door knock is another great thing.
It is. Again, it's changed.
It definitely has.
Changed a lot, especially COVID also changed it a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like things have changed. So we're trying to figure out newer ways. Like my business is obviously different now than it was when I first started. So less cold calling and less door knocking. But I still said there's still merit in there, especially if you have a listing. Cold call, door knocking is really advantageous if you have a listing or have somebody that's sold on the street. And some of the other coaches told us and I tell my guys, if you're going to door knock, there has to be a reason why you're door knocking, and you could still do it. I just think a lot of people are intimidated and they don't open the doors.
Well, most of the people that I talk to, they just don't know what to say.
Really?
They have after the first line, they don't know where to take the conversation.
Why, that was never my problem. Like, and that's easy to coach. Right?
It is to a certain degree, but the way my brain works is that the way I structure my conversations is that there's nothing that you can say that'll throw me off. It's like a family tree. So you're going to say yes or no, and I know what that's going to go next to, right? Hey, you're looking, and my scripts that I use are maybe a little bit different than most people, but I go right to the point. Hey, Mr. Chinelli, how are you? Great. Just wondering if you're looking to sell the house here on Riverdale anytime soon. Like, it's straight to the point.
Yeah.
And I do certain things in a certain way. I use your name.
Yeah.
I use your last name out of respect. I use your address.
Yeah. Well, that's if you're just door knocking, you don't
cold
always
calling.
Oh, cold calling.
I'm talking about cold calling.
Oh, cold calling. Well, I found with door knocking what we reason, and I used to be with Rob Vivian in the past. And I really I think his strategy is great because he'll take a listing, a street. He goes, don't just randomly grab a street. And the other thing is the type of home also matters.
Yep.
As you know, like
Yep.
townhomes have a lot more turnover. People are always looking like it's more of a transitional home because, they're coming from a condo to a townhome. From a townhome, they want to get a semi, or like they're always building, and there's a lot of movement in them. So so if you find a townhome that has sold in the past week, it's a great conversation starter because you can door knock in that whole area and maximize your time and say, and all you have to do is like put a little bug in somebody's ear and they knock and say, hey, Mr. Samrah, did you know that, and a knock on the door, and you do the 12-second rule again. We don't keep talking for 12 seconds straight. And
it's a ping pong match. You can't keep the ball for too long, or else the person's not going to want to play with you.
And it worked for me in the beginning, but then I started getting busy. I just didn't have time to do it, and that's
where I'm at, right? So I don't need to do it right now with all the other marketing. I'm fortunate enough that people are calling me or wanting me to help them and stuff like that. So you become an area expert in that aspect, and now you're in demand in that sense. But it's a skill set that I'll never lose. It's a skill set that I want to teach people, and I think that's where people need to. They should understand how to handle an objection, and that objection is not just good for cold calling. It's dealing with your client. It's dealing with your seller. So dealing with your buyer.
Which strategy you mostly do you use? So there is. What's it called? Repeat, approve, build a bridge. There's always trying to get the no as a good answer. Like depending on which one, there's all these objection handles. So somebody says no, I'm like, that's good. Okay, so you always approve of they're saying the objection. Is that one you always use?
Well, certainly, you're not like, oh, okay, no problem. Have you considered maybe selling later this year or early next year?
Yeah.
That's kind of that. You'll say no, and I'll ask you the same question, but in a different way. So are you looking later this year or next year? And then the person's kind of going to say, I'm going to be carried out of here feet first. No problem. Thank you very much. See you later. Or, well, yeah, no, not right now. I'm going to retire next year. And then, okay, perfect.
Well, we had this conversation. So I do a team meeting here on Tuesdays with them. And somebody said the same thing as my friend Chris was saying. He's like, well, he had a database from COVID, like for 11,000 people on that, which he hadn't called in 3 years. So now he goes, it's a good idea to call them. I'm like, fuck yeah, you paid for them. Like, even if they bought or something, like just you have their numbers. It's easy to just knock them off. And he's like, well, what if somebody says to me they just bought? I said, it's a great opportunity. It's like, so maybe you don't need them. Like, well, ask them. It's like, were you happy with the experience? I would just want to know if there's something I can use, maybe I can improve. Or if you weren't happy with the experience, maybe in the near future, I can help you or a family member. Again, it's an objection. It's like they've already told you, hey, I kicked you in the nuts because you didn't follow up with me 3 years ago. But at the same time, it's like, you don't end the conversation there. It's like, oh, that's amazing. I'm always looking to learn. Even us, we're always looking to learn. I'm on all these, like I think you and I on social media way too much, but I'm always looking to see what other realtors are doing. I'm like, fuck, I need to do that.
Yep. 100%. I lose a listing. I email the person, I'm happy that you signed with somebody else. I understand, but is there anything that I could have done differently?
Right.
I always want to better myself. And that's the thing in this business. For me, it's not that you're my competition. It's that I have that sports mentality. The best player is going to win. Yeah. And if I'm not the best player, it's not your fault that you're better than me. Yeah. It's my fault that my skill set is not as good as yours or better than yours. So I need to improve myself, not put you down. Yeah. And that's how I view it.
Well, then there's always those, some people will never appreciate us and they just go for the lowest common denominator. 100%. And then listen, you can put your house on the market with a 99-cent person. That's fine. And when it does, I've said this before, when it doesn't sell, please feel free to, if it doesn't sell, I don't say when, because, but we know, like I've told other people, I've gone to a listing appointment, like, I don't want your listing. You're overpriced. Yep. And I backed away. I said, listen, if you come to the price, I can sell it. I'll knock it out of the park at this price point. I know it. I'll probably get more than this. This is the market showing you. And we went up against other people, and one of them was in Remax West, which is a big name. And they listed for $300,000 above asking. And after 2 months, They dropped the price, and then 2 months later they fired them, and then they got a discount. And they still couldn't sell. And that person kept calling me to list their property, and I kept telling them, until you come to realization with the price, I can't help you. And that's the part of the thing. That's the ping pong match. Again, we can lose. We can. That's the other thing people understand. When you're interviewing for a listing, we're also interviewing you.
Oh, and I tell the people right away, you're not only interviewing me, I'm interviewing you because I have to put money into this listing. Maybe other agents don't, but I have to pay for whatever I do for
we've
everything.
Seen your listings. Yeah, we both put a lot of money.
I put a lot of money into it. So I have a little bit of skin in this game. And if you're not going to sell it, or you're not motivated to sell, or if you're just looking to test the market out, maybe I'm not the right person to test it out with. I lost 4 listings this year. I keep track of everything. That I lost it because my evaluation wasn't what they wanted. And they listed with somebody else. And I tell everybody right away, I said, just, understand, I'm giving you the price of what it's worth today. If you're looking to sell in the next week, this is what it's worth. Also, just so you understand, is that for me, and this is personally for me, you can cancel my contract at any time. Just so you understand, someone can put you into a contract for a year and they do not have to release you from it. Do you understand that? I had a guy call me back in Etobicoke, and he basically said, I said, I know, Mr. Ross, I know who you are. Yeah, you live on the street. My wife hates me for this. I can't remember shit, but I can remember a person's name, address, and what they look like in an instant. So, I know who you are. He goes, he pauses. I have to tell you something. I wasn't listening to you. You were right. This agent won't let me out of the deal. And you're right. I overpriced the house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. I can't help you. There's nothing I can do. Yeah. What can I do? So you have to, it has to be priced where it's going to sell.
I just helped one of my clients and friend of mine. Now, they used to be my neighbor, but they're clients and friends of ours. And we got one of the big sales, one of my bigger sales we had lately. And they were saying it's a friend of ours. They're trying to sell the property with this agent. And they're like, they signed them up to a 6-month contract. And I said, excuse me? That's egregious. That's 6 months is a long time. And for those of you who don't know, it's so our contracts, in order to be on MLS, you have to be more than 2 months. So
60 days. Maybe.
Yeah, 60 days. So I usually do 3 months, sometimes maybe 3.5. Again, because we want to make sure, hey, I may want to be out of the contract too. If you're pretending to not to be somebody who you're not, we both want to make sure that the marriage fits, right? Yep. So I'm going to put my best foot forward. We should have been doing that. Anyway, long story short, they've had to decrease the price and their offers, and they're just butting heads, and they want it out. And they're like, maybe they want to speak with you. I said, great, but here's the deal. When's their contract done? And they're like, not until later this year. Later in this year, I'm like, I can't do anything. I'm like, you can ask to be removed. And this happened to one of my other clients. She was getting divorced, and they went with their other agent, the husband, the guy flying in a helicopter, and he never talked to them. And to the point, she took the lockbox off the house. She hated this guy. Finally, he agreed to use him. We sold the house within pretty quickly and stuff too, because he actually listened. But the hardest part is sometimes you get these agents that you sign up with, and be careful, especially long ones, that you can't get out. There's not really much. You can talk to their broker of record. I think that case, I would say talk to the broker of record, but the broker of record could say, no, sorry, the contract is a contract.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So that's kind of a shitty thing, but so I tell people all the time, I want to work with you. You want to work with me. And that's how we're going to, if you think I'm perfect for the job, I'm going to let you know if I think you're a good fit for the job, to work together. And that's it. And go ahead, go on my website, go on my Google reviews. I'll give you numbers to everybody that's on there. You can talk to them. I don't care. My point of it is that I always want, you're going to work with me. And my objective is to exceed your expectations as best as I can, and to make this experience as joyful or as best as I can make it, and come out of here where you're going to say, no, Mike, you did a great job. Thank you so much. That's what I'm going after. So
one of my friends put this in my head too. And I've stuck with this. I love this. He goes, I don't want to just sell your house. I want to break a record. Yep. For the street and the stuff too. And that's always my objective. I'm always trying to get the best, and I think you're exactly the same way. I'm like, that'll exceed expectations. If we're selling a Nunda's house and it's like, hey, we get it more, like I sold one in Rexdale, that one, and I saw that one, and it was, no one expected to get over $1 million. And we sold it for a lot more than that. We're like, holy crap.
And back to, I think you did something a long time ago. I can't remember when, where it's like you wanted every listing. Yeah. And you had a listing in my farm area, and that you probably like, fuck, damn it, that should have been why. And so I look at it. I look up the person. Why didn't they call me? Who are they? Was it? And I do it all the time. And even my dad, my wife, like, you can't get every listing. I don't give a shit.
I'm the same.
I want why did they not call me? My marketing is not good enough. I'm not doing enough. Like, I think that, which can be detrimental, but it's also what, again, keeps you evolving and keeps you motivated.
Well, keeps us. I'm
On your toes.
very competitive.
Yeah, so am I.
And that's it. I told everybody, I've said this in my reels too. I want every fucking listing.
So
I know it's not physically possible. I want every listing in all of Toronto, all the GTA. I'll take them all. We had 70,000, 60,000 deals last year, 70,000. I wanted all 70. I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't get all 70,000. That's how competitive I am. I'll beat every. I think we all are that way. And it's like, we'll find a way. Yeah, I'll find a way. It doesn't matter.
I got to. And why didn't I? So I'll do the same. I'll do the same thing. Why analyze everything? I have it on there. I'm looking at all the new listings that come up in my farm area. Why didn't I get this? Okay, this makes sense. Are they in my database? They are in my database. They didn't call me. When did I call them last? How did I do this? Okay, they're not in my database. Okay, I feel a little bit better, right?
I know we creep out our database sometimes. Like if I see a house, a listing close to one of my listings, it freaked me out one time. I'm like, what do you mean? I thought this person was selling their house. I Google and I'm like, oh, thank God. It just looks exactly the same 3 doors down. And I called them like, hey, everything good? Did you see your neighbors just listed for sale? Hey, I'll keep an eye on them for you.
yeah, exactly.
Because again, that little panic sets in. All right. So now let's switch back to being a broker of record now, right?
Yeah.
So how has that changed? Has it changed your business for selling now? Do you find less time? Is it more like, and what are some of the challenges that somebody like myself, like say I want to be a broker, like what would you say were initial challenges that you didn't anticipate? Because we all know the staffing is the biggest part. Keeping staff happy is always a part.
Yep.
But counting, all that kind of stuff, like what were the unforeseen challenges and what still challenges you?
So for the longest of times, probably out of my 14-year career, I would say 12 of those years, I ran my business quite self-sufficient. I was very proficient in what I did and the systems that I used to keep everything organized. I had everything at the tip of my fingertips. When I went over I was with Royal LePage for, I think, 8 years of my career, went over to a small brokerage, and in the last 3-4 years, I was with Remax. During that time, I adopted most of their systems. So it wasn't too much of a change for me. That's the difference. The only big aspect was, like you said, yes, staffing, finding a really good admin that will not only, and my admin services all the agents at the office. And at this point in time, she has enough time to be my executive assistant to a certain degree. But that's going to not fail. It's going to get too busy where, I'm going to have to hire another admin. Right. The genius of this all, or how the business runs, mostly is within a deal administrator. And it's funny how the world works out. My deal administrator was my deal administrator back at Royal LePage. She then decided to go off on her own, and she does it for numerous other small brokerages as well. So she's my deal administrator that takes care of all my accounting, my trades, my bookkeeping, does everything for me, sends the EFTs. Mike is ready for approval, does the transfers of deposits, all that amazing stuff. So for me, it wasn't too much of a change. The genius in it all, and this is where I kind of leverage it, is that I wear 2 hats. So yes, you're an agent. I'm an agent too. I'm doing the exact same thing you're doing. I'm in the trenches. I'm going to listing appointments. I'm calling. I'm doing this. And I'm the broker of record. I run the brokerage. So I want to ensure that the business is going to serve you, because I am an agent just like you are.
Do you find that's a conflict at all?
Everyone at my brokerage is not competing in my farm area.
Okay, good.
Right. And even if they are, I have people in my farm area that said, come join my brokerage. I said, I don't think you're competition. If you win a listing over me, it's because you deserved it. I have no issues with that.
Mm-hmm. Not a problem.
Not a problem at all.
Not a problem.
Right. But people do see the competition. So for the most part, most of the people that join the brokerage because I have systems in place and how I do things and how I have it all organized, I'm telling them, come, I'll show you. My book is open. I'll show you exactly how I do things. I'll show you the CRM I use. I'll show you how I keep in contact with them through prospects and solds. I'll show you the newsletter I send out. Copy my system. Copy it exactly.
Yeah. I do something similar to that too with my agency. Like we use BombBomb. I use for my newsletters because I send out. I almost contact my database a little too much, which is a good thing. Like there's lots of touch points. Yeah. Well, again, we do things a little differently, but again, I do. BombBomb is it's an email service which we have, which you can condense your videos, and I do all my social media, so they get at least one a week from that for me talking about all, if in case you missed my social medias, here's all my posts.
Yeah.
And then we send another one out because on the podcast, we drop on Mondays at 5:00. So next Monday at 5:00.
There you go. I'll look for it.
Maybe whatever you're going to be dropping, I'll let you know what day you're going to drop. But it's 5:00, and then we tag you and all that stuff too. But they'll get an email about that as well.
Yep.
And then we also do another email when it comes market updates.
Yep.
A lot of people find that handy. So it's important to have like those systems in place. My assistant knows already. By the time I've already recorded the video, she's like, yeah, it's ready to go.
But 80-90% of the people I speak to don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that doesn't click with me. It's like, why wouldn't you? Like, it's second nature to us.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that are coming in the business right now are not doing that. Like, why do you not have your clients, everybody in your database, set up to receive the solds when it sells in your neighborhood? Mm-hmm. Why aren't you sending them a listing when it pops up in their neighborhood? Mm-hmm. Why aren't you sending them a newsletter once a month? Just once a month. Whatever brokerage you're with, you get the stats. They send it to you. Put it in the newsletter.
Yeah.
Send it to them on the 15th. I send mine on the 15th of every month. It goes out. My stats, my listings coming soon, all the same kind of stuff. I do that once a month. But why are you not doing it? It's easy and it's free.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the disconnect for me is like, I don't understand then. Yeah. Right. And that's why I want to help them. Here, do what I'm doing. This is the playbook. It's simple. It's easy. It's not going to guarantee you stuff, but I can tell you right now, if you're not doing it, somebody else is doing it.
Yeah.
And somebody else is going to get your client because they're servicing them behind the scenes that you don't know about.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking sometimes the service I have with BombBomb pisses me off because it gets buried. If you don't look at it 2 or 3 video emails in a row, they suppress you. So I know it's on my database, and it drives me nuts. So it's one of those things. So I need to. Anyway, long story short, I want to always change that. I want to but hey, there's certain things we have to go. Like I'm always trying to like you're sparking to some things. Even I've noticed that there's been faults in our own business and what's happening. So trying to push things forward, and we can always improve.
And that's what the fun part is. That's what I love about it. That's again, the evolution is where can I improve on little stuff, right? Yeah. Like QR codes on a for sale sign. On every listing I have, every for sale sign says scan for more photos, videos, and stuff like that.
My brother-in-law did that too in the beginning, and I was thinking about doing that. So now I just put my website on there too. So I just find it because the QR codes, when people are driving by, I find people weren't scanning them. But
if most of them are walking with their dogs and stuff like that, and so I use a system called QuickPage. So I have a system where I create the QR code. It's a static QR code, and I change where it goes to, and it goes to a quick page. And that page.
But what if you have multiple listings?
They're scanning that listing.
Right. What I'm saying. So the same sign.
I have 8 different QR codes.
Oh, so every sign is different.
And I just change where it points to.
No, but I'm saying, so I know what you're saying. Because QR codes, we point to all the different things. So I do the same thing for my open houses, right? I say the same QR code, but that QR code, so if you have 2 listings, so when we print signs, we print like 8 of them in a row. So say you print 8 with the same QR code.
No, 8 different QR codes. And those are 8 static QR codes.
So when you're printing one, it's just the QR codes can be different on every
sign. I print 8 different ones.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So QR code number 2 is for 32 Dashwood. No problem. I'll point it to the 32 Dashwood quick page. And the reason I use quick page is because I can put everything on there. I can put a video. I can put a PDF. I can put floor plans. I can then change it. It's dynamic. So I get more stuff. I can add the virtual tour. I can put everything in there. So when they open it up, they see all the information. But like you said, then they see, well, here's a map of what I sold in the area. Here, take a look at all this stuff. Here, and I put all my little videos in there. And then they can chat with me live. Hey, Mike, how much is this house? And I do it all there. So I have this QR code. Again, creativity. I'm making a light box for sale sign.
So it'd be like it lights up.
So it's on a solar LED light strip.
I've thought about that too. Yeah.
My guy is literally welding it as we speak right now out of aluminum. It'll light up when it gets dark. Your sign will light up. I print it on plexiglass, and now I'll have an illuminated sign.
So you're gonna share that with me?
Go for it. I said I got to patent the the frame idea. So
well, because I think it's the Finney team not the Finney team. Sorry, Justine Fernie. She's got a really nice sign too, and it's like her and her husband have a really nice sign. It's like nice, and but I've seen ones with the lights up top that are solar powered. Right?
I saw that, but I want it to actually light up, and I want it to be solar. So when it's dark, it lights up, and my whole sign looks like a light box. So it's like 2 inches thick, made out of aluminum. He's welding it all up right now.
All right. Well, I'd be
Just
interested.
different
Maybe,
ideas.
let me know. Let me know. I'd be interested to do that with you.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, we're gonna have to wrap up soon.
Yeah.
But I just want to see a couple of things. First off, did COVID change the way you run your business? Was it it's been 3 years? Was it during COVID you opened up
Just
your brokerage?
before, yeah, kind of,
wow.
yeah.
Was that kind of scary too when you started opening up?
One of the agents always said, and I always look forward to down markets because I truly believe in a down market, the cream rises to the top. The
Correct.
agents who are experienced and who have, forged a business, those are the agents that you're going to call. So during COVID really hasn't affected me. And I think if you go across the board with realtors, they're pretty consistent to a certain degree. Yeah, there's a little bit of fluctuation. So no, it didn't affect me in a great deal. It was different. There was different challenges, but for the most part, no, I was still kind of doing okay. Actually, I was doing really well during COVID.
Nice.
Actually, business increased.
Yeah, I think same. I think 2021 was, most of us, we had our best year that year.
Right?
It was insane.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So parting words, what would be the biggest takeaways that you've seen as a realtor or somebody coming into the business or somebody trying to open, for you it's different. I've talked to other realtors. I want to know if somebody wants to think about being a broker of record, what kind of takeaways would you give them from your experience? It'd be like a heads up to them or what to experience if they're listening to this talk.
So from running a business is making sure that you have all your systems, making sure that back end is fully operational and using and leveraging systems, to your benefit. But the aspect of managing people, that's a whole different story because now you're dealing with many different people. You're dealing with people that want to work, that are cranking out deals, and you're dealing with people that don't work or are not doing deals. Yeah. So it's kind of, you always have to be changing gears depending on who you're talking to. That's the biggest aspect that I've learned. I've got agents that are knocking out of the park with me, that are listing like crazy, and other ones that are struggling, other ones that are part-time, other ones that don't do many deals. Yeah. So it's curbing your expectations for different people. And my expectations are pretty high for everybody. Yeah. And I want them to do it. But that's where you have to kind of pull back and say, well, they're not me, right? They're not going to do that. They're going to do only this. So
that is the hardest part I've seen with even mentoring and coaching or helping other people is that they're not you.
I hate coaching. I can't. I can't coach. I hate coaching people.
Yeah.
Because of that simple aspect. Between you and me, we can give anybody a playbook. You want to make $250 a year? Here, just do this. Yeah. I can literally. You want to make $250? I can tell you how to make $250 a year. Yeah. You won't do it.
They never do.
You won't do it.
I know. We had a meeting a couple years ago, and it was funny. We were in front of there's like a bunch of panel on. I think there was 4 panelists. I was one of the panelists, and I think there was about 70 people in the room. Realtors, Royal LePage Signature, and I literally said to all of them, I said, "Hey, if you want to know how I do my listing presentation, go to our design team. We have an in-house graphic designer. They do all of my design. Like, go to them, tell them you want to download, you want a copy of my thing." I think we had like maybe 20 people went there, which is great. Yeah. I thought, okay. They're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Sure, go ahead." Out of those people, you know how many people actually used it and actually downloaded and tried to use it? One person.
Again, it's just about doing the simple stuff, like a listing booklet. I'm like, why wouldn't you send a booklet if you have an appointment on Friday? Why would you not send them the booklet today in the mail? Yeah. Oh, for me, this simple stuff is what people don't get.
I used to think they're doing that too, and then I got worried about that too. So what I do is I have a nice presentation. I do my book and I bring it to them like a gift.
Oh, okay.
So I agree. I had a friend of mine, Randy Drohan. Now he had Drohan Real Estate. Now he's with Forest Hill. Like they bought him out, and he would always tell me, "Send it beforehand." And I'm like, the problem is sometimes I find some people weren't reading it. They'll look through the thing again. Some people, no, I'm saying my point. When I sit there and I bring them a nice gift, I bring them like little, like the DC coasters, keychains, all that stuff too. It has all my logo all over the place. I said, I bring this, like they think it's a gift of chocolates. Maybe I should put chocolates in there. But that's a different story. And I say, I'm like, we're going to do the presentation. You're not going to remember everything. Yeah. This book is to help you remember. Yeah. And I think it's a fantastic book. I can show you later, but I think it's a great book and it just helps, right? Yeah. Because Ryan Serhant always told us, like I took the ideas from Serhant and stuff too. He sends it beforehand and does it too. Like, again, it's different philosophy. And like So,
And again, it's totally different philosophy. For me, it's like I can go into the property and sometimes I already got the listing. Just from looking through the booklet, everyone's going to creep you. Like, let's be realistic. They're going to look you up on Facebook. They're going to look at Instagram. They're going to look you up everywhere else.
It actually bothers me when they don't.
Right?
Because I'm like, so I'm assuming you see on social media, like, no, we haven't seen it. I'm like, what? Why not? Yeah. Like, I'm like, don't you want to know who you're talking to? You just let a stranger into your house.
Yeah. But I'll have them say, no, yeah, we looked you up. We saw your reviews. Yeah, no problem. So I know right there, I already got the listing. It's like, I think Mike Ferry did like the 30-second listing appointment, right?
Yeah.
And you go in there. Yeah, here. Okay, sign here. I don't have to say shit. I literally already got the listing appointment. Yeah. So yeah, there's certain aspects of certain things, but it's like, again, it's the little stuff that will make you different and make you that'll make you different from other agents. Right. And just like a stupid booklet, like this stupid little stuff that you can outshine another agent. I'm always thinking, if I'm up against somebody else, who are they going to pick? The guy who dropped the booklet off 2 days ago with a letter saying, looking forward to seeing you on Friday at 2:30. Please, here's a booklet to look through. By all means, if you have any questions, but I'll see you at 2:30 on Friday.
Perfect.
And then you show up with a box of croissants with your sticker on it. And then you're there at the listing appointment, and guess what? You basically got the listing, even if they're meeting with another agent.
Right. Smart.
Yeah.
Really. Appreciate that. All right, Mike. Well, if somebody wants to follow you on social media, what is the best way for them to reach out? Or even to reach out to you? I guess I always saw people DM me, but...
Well, GetSold.ca. They can just go right there, man.
Love it. Love the brand. As you know, I like my branding too. So yeah, so GetSold.ca is a great opportunity. Obviously, if you follow Mike Samrah, like you want to follow him on social media too. Like we talk a lot on social media as well. We're always trying to push each other's buttons. We like that too. And again, guys, we also would really appreciate if you liked what you heard today, share with your friends, like, follow, share, add comments. And again, you can listen to this anywhere that you listen to your podcast, or you can always watch us on YouTube as well. But we really appreciate the feedback. And if there's something you want, maybe even Owen and I to talk about, especially when it comes to our controversial episodes like our flat earth and things like that, we'd love to hear your topics, what you want us to talk about. So up until next time, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.